Welcome. It's another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana, another day of record setting warmth here in Cleveland, Ohio. And it's also, some of you may know that it is election day here in the United States of America, where it's a presidential election cycle. And for many living here, expats, or many people around the world, this is a big day, and many people are stressed about it. We got our little run through history shirt. There we go. On today, because this will be an historical election. Whoever does get elected, it will be some firsts on both sides. If you want to know how I'm voting, I'm going to answer like I think the vast majority of people voting will answer, and that is I'm voting for the person I truly believe to be the best candidate for this time in this country. And people who are going to vote exactly the opposite of me, and people who aren't going to vote at all. In fact, I saw one of my favorite campaign signs I saw in somebody's yard this week was "Screw them both, 2024." Sorry, but we're all voting for who we really think is the best. Unless we're voting because somebody pressures us to vote a certain way, which is a whole another kettle of fish we won't get into today. But then why are we voting differently? It's because our perspectives are different. Our viewpoint is different. The way we look at things is different. We can love somebody dearly and they can have a very different way of looking at the world. And that's going to lead me to, well, it's a day chock full of stuff. So we're going to look at not just the Gita, but a bigger picture. The Gita provides a lovely peek into spiritual life growth and other things. But the Mahabharata, which is said to be 10 times longer than the Bible, provides so much more perspective and background. So today, if you're looking for a quote that I think will relate to what we're talking about, and it's down in the summary from Epictetus, a Greek Stoic philosopher. And Epictetus said, it's very windy. No, he said, it is easy to praise providence for anything that may happen if you have two qualities: a complete view of what has actually happened in each instance, and a sense of gratitude. And this is what the Mahabharata actually is teaching, but it's taking a much longer um, bunch of words, much more words to get this point across. So, for example, in the Mahabharata, things often start one way and look one way, but if you look at this event over a period of years or decades, even centuries, it turns out in a completely different way. So I think I've mentioned these before, but it's good to remind ourselves because under stress we forget, right? So, for example, the five good guys in the Gita and the Mahabharata, the Pandavas, Arjuna and his brothers, who rely on Krishna's guidance, they were born from a curse. Their father was cursed to not be able to have biological children, so he worked with his wives and had divine children instead. So, from a curse that broke this king's heart came the blessing of these five epitomes of virtue. And on the other side, from a blessing to their uncle and their uncle's wife, so their aunt by marriage, the blessing was given, you will have 100 sons. And also, like the first one is going to be very strong. You know, you think that's great. But these 100 sons turned out to be Duryodhana, who personifies selfishness, and his brothers, who have names like Bad Advice. Wow. So from a curse comes a blessing, and from a seeming blessing comes a curse. And this is all playing out now in this epic battle. So with Epictetus' quote here, if you want to be grateful for anything or sad about anything, make sure you have a complete view of what is actually going on. And for most of us as human beings, we don't have that. Well, we're going to look a little at, from the Gita itself, chapter 14, verse 25. And this is being spoken by Krishna, who is said to be an avatar of the divine, who does things like laugh when certain people die, because, as shocking as it may be to us, he's got like the perspective of eternity to see what's going on. So he sees things very differently than his best friend Arjun, and thus is able to advise Arjun through a period of very much stress during a time of great political strife. So chapter 14, verse 25, I'll chant it. Krishna says, "The same in honor and disgrace, to parties of friends and of foes, abandoning undertakings, that one transcends the qualities." So what are the qualities? There are three different ways of looking at the world. They're like the dark-colored sunglasses of Thomas that make everything seem doom and gloom. The rose-colored glasses of Rajas, which make everything seem rosy. And then the clear glasses of Sattva, which allow us to see more clearly, yet are still glasses between us and the experience. When we can take all of our lenses away, spiritual, physical, and really see, then Krishna says this is what happens. We will become the same in honor and disgrace. So today in the election, if we've mastered this, whoever wins will be like, that's the way it is. And the same two parties. I love that this word is in here, two parties, because that's what we call our two different opposing political groups right now, right? The Republican Party, the Democratic Party. Only one of them is going to have a party tonight. Two parties of friends and of foes. Are we going to gloat if our candidate wins? Are we going to make other people feel bad? Are we going to, how are we going to act? So I guess what I'm asking you to consider today is, when you hear this news, which I remember this country hasn't been around very long, but still a couple hundred years, and people have been hearing this news for 4 years, for 200 some years, over 200 years now. Are you going to go off the rails? And why? And this is good advice for myself, because I've gone off the rails over elections. It's like, but we have to see the whole picture. And part of the spiritual journey is, whatever happens outside in this illusory world, does it take us away from who we really want to be inside? Will we act in ways that we don't condone or normally act because of this news? And remember, if we take a longer view, what we see one way may turn out to be another way. So can we take this long view? Can we be ourselves? Okay, so some dedications today for this intense day of sadhana. This practice is dedicated to all who are affected by this election, and that can be around the world. It can be plants, animals, birds, the sky, the earth, anything, anybody. To Rob for sharing a new place of peace he just completed, and it's gorgeous. Thank you. May you find peace there today, whatever happens. And to those who have been commenting and continuing to share their thoughts, thank you. Every time you share a thought or a comment, it's like you're voting on this very practice. So thank you for voting. And I'll give you one other thing, and that is, if you are Christian or open to being in Christian company, the community of St Hildegard and Reverend Shanon, whom I appreciate because she left the official Catholic Church since she got called to priesthood and is a woman priest, reverend. She and the community of St Hildegard, if you haven't heard of St Hildegard of Bingen, she's a very interesting spiritual person. They're offering a special Election Day prayer service at noon Eastern Standard, and the link is below. The Zoom link for that is below. You can participate from anywhere. But I'm just trying to think of resources that you may have. You can look at your Gita anywhere. Look in your heart. Look to your very best side, your higher perspective. All right? Practice time. I'm wearing my jammies because, it's going to encourage me not to take anything that happens today too seriously. Switch sides. Awesome. So today, remember the invitation for contemplation, I need, is to really consider whatever results you get today. Are you going to be able to be the person you want to be? That is, if you're a person of action, will you be a person of action no matter what happens? If you're a person that's peaceful, loving, happy, are you going to be able to be that no matter what happens? Or are you going to turn into something else? And if you do, why? It's a really great day for spiritual practice. So I'm grateful to the universe for this opportunity and for sharing it with you. Let's do our timer. 5 minutes. Contemplation. That's our time. The winds of change are blowing. Yet, whatever happens today, well, right now I'm going to go do some dishes and, do my daily routine, because no matter who wins, I'm still going to have to do the dishes. I'm still going to have to do my daily routine. And I still plan to be here with you as much as I can. So hopefully tomorrow we will connect. Until then.